When you think about billionaires, you probably imagine the usual suspects: Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Elon Musk. But what about female billionaires? Who are the wealthiest women in the world? And more importantly, how did they get there? From pharmaceuticals and beauty products to confectionery and e-commerce, stay tuned to discover their stories, including the billionaire with major mother drama, the lady that joined the Free Comma Club at just 25 years old, and the billionaire that, in all honesty, probably should have been in prison. Let's dive in. Our first heiress comes from China, and with a net worth of $30 billion, she's both the richest woman in Asia and China's youngest billionaire. If you've ever watched the movie Crazy Rich Asians, she's probably the closest life counterpart you'll find. Yang Kyung was born in 1981 in Guangdong, China. She's the daughter of property developer Yang Guangqiong, who's the founder and chairman of Country Garden Group, one of the largest real estate developers in the province. And shortly after graduating from Ohio State University in 2003, she joined her father's company. In 2007, virtually overnight, a 25-year-old Yang entered China's billionaire club when her father transferred 70% of his holdings to her before taking Country Garden public in Hong Kong. At the time of the IPO, the company was valued at $1.6 billion, which meant that Yang's 70% holdings were valued at $1.12 billion. And get this, in 2018, Yang experienced her, quote, magic 96 hours due to a surge in the company's stock value, which increased her wealth by $2 billion in 4 days. Although Yang is still known as China's youngest billionaire for now, she might not hold that title for long. No, not the youngest billionaire part, but the Chinese part. You see, Yang's name came up as part of the leaked Cyprus Papers documents that allegedly uncovered a whole host of wealthy and famous personalities who own a Cypriot golden passport. Now, these golden passports were dished out by the tiny island of Cyprus for any foreigner that agreed to invest $2 million into the country. And of course, the perk of these passports is, because Cyprus is in the EU, a Cyprus passport means you're automatically an EU national. And according to an investigative report by Al Jazeera, these passports are supposedly a way out for many of China's elite to migrate out of the country, sort of like an escape hatch. And if these allegations are indeed true, Yang could automatically lose her Chinese citizenship, since China doesn't recognise dual nationality. Now let's move on to our next billionaire, Jacqueline Mars. I'm willing to bet you're probably pretty familiar with the company that her family owns. If you've ever eaten M&Ms or given your dog a bowl of pedigree, you've made her just that little bit richer. So Jacqueline is the daughter of Forrest Mars Sr. and granddaughter of Franklin Clarence Mars, founders of the popular candy company Mars Incorporated. While the company started out as a candy company, it's now one of the largest privately owned companies in the world, with more than 50 different brands under its name. The Mars family is the third richest family in the world, so it's not surprising that Jacqueline's personal net worth sits at around $31 billion. Jacqueline joined the company in 1982, and up until 2016, she served as the Food Product Group president. And although she retired and stepped down from the company's board of directors, she still owns a third of the company, along with her brother and 4 of her nieces. Since retiring, she's found more time to focus on her other passion, horses. She owns a 200+ acre farm in Virginia, where she breeds and trains champion horses. According to Forbes, she's the richest person living in Virginia. Interestingly enough, Jacqueline is said to not enjoy the limelight. In the 1980s, shortly after her family was added to the Forbes list of America's wealthiest families, Jacqueline was said to be incensed by the violation of their privacy and demanded that they be removed from the list when she met Malcolm Forbes at a dinner party. Ducking out of the spotlight might have been a wise decision, as in 2013, Jacqueline was involved in a car accident on Route 50 near her Northern Virginia home, when her vehicle crossed the highway centerline and struck a Chrysler minivan carrying 6 passengers. Unfortunately, 1 person died at the scene, while another, who was pregnant, subsequently miscarried. According to Jacqueline, she had fallen asleep at the wheel. She eventually pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge of reckless driving and was fined $2,500. While the misdemeanor also carried a year in jail, it was the victim's family who pleaded with the judge that she not be incarcerated and that they had forgiven her. The next person on our list is Mackenzie Scott, or you might know her better from her former married name, Mackenzie Bezos. She's the ex-wife of the world's richest man, Jeff Bezos. Mackenzie currently has a net worth of $54 billion, but how exactly did she become so wealthy? Born to a middle-class family in San Francisco, as a young child she was a consummate bookworm, and fittingly enough, she wrote her first book at the age of 6, entitled The Bookworm. She earned her bachelor's degree in English at Princeton University, and after she graduated in 1992, she worked as a research associate at the quantitative hedge fund D.E. Shaw. That same year, she met Jeff Bezos, who was the company's youngest ever senior vice president, and she became his assistant. And things clearly moved quickly because a year later the couple got married, and by 1994 they both left D.E. Shaw to move to Seattle, Washington to start Amazon. Mackenzie was one of Amazon's first employees, and during the early days she was heavily involved in the company. She helped come up with the name, the business model, and even worked in the company's accounting and fulfillment department. As the company grew, Mackenzie quietly settled down into the background to focus on their family and her literary career. In 2006, she won the American Book Award for her debut novel, The Testing of Luther Albright. And while both Amazon and her literary career flourished, it seemed like her marriage hit rocky ground, especially when a scandal erupted that Jeff was cheating on her with her best friend Lauren Sanchez. In April 2019, the pair officially divorced, and because of California's communal property law, Mackenzie received around 25% of Jeff's stake in Amazon, with a value at the time of around $35 billion, and that made her one of Amazon's largest shareholders. In exchange, Mackenzie gave up voting control over her shares, as well as her stakes in Jeff's other companies, such as Blue Origin and the Washington Post. Now, after their divorce, Mackenzie seemed to go down the ultimate post-divorce revenge route. Not only did she legally change her last name to Scott, which was her middle name, she also joined the Giving Pledge, which is a movement where the world's richest people pledge to give away the majority of their wealth to charitable causes. Other notable figures who have joined the pledge include Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. While the pledge isn't legally binding, Mackenzie seems to have really put her money where her mouth was. As of July 2020, she's already donated $1.7 billion to various non-profits, including fighting climate change, racial equality, and LGBTQ rights. And in December 2020, she donated a further $4.15 billion to organisations that supported people affected by COVID-19. All in all, at the time of recording, her donations amount to almost $6 billion, making it one of the largest donations given by a private individual in modern history. And there was more good news, because in March 2021, Mackenzie announced that she'd got married to Dan Jewett, a science teacher who teaches at the school attended by her children. Our next entry on our list has a current net worth of around $76 billion. Françoise Bettencourt Meyers. Françoise is the granddaughter of Eugene Schuller, the founder of cosmetics empire L'Oreal. She joined the billionaire club after her mother, Lillian Bettencourt, passed away in 2017, and Françoise became the sole owner of the company. However, the process of her inheritance was full of issues. In 2008, Françoise sued a photographer named François-Marie Bannier, whom she alleged was exploiting her mother's dementia. According to the lawsuit, Bannier had scammed Lillian out of millions of dollars, and Françoise was suing to get power of attorney over her mother, who she said was not in her right mind. But as the trial commenced, it came to light that Lillian had actually tried to avoid paying taxes by stashing money in an offshore account. And what's more, she'd also allegedly made illegal campaign contributions to former French President Nicolas Sarkozy. The whole affair was dubbed the French Watergate by the press. Eventually, it was settled out of court. Françoise's altercation with her mother was not her only brush with controversy. When Françoise married Jean-Pierre Meyers, it became known that Jean-Pierre's grandfather was a rabbi that died in Auschwitz. Their marriage became controversial because her grandfather, the founder of L'Oreal, was placed on trial for his very close links to the Nazis and other Nazi sympathising groups. Nevertheless, after her mother's death, Françoise not only inherited her massive wealth, she's also inherited a huge property portfolio, including villas in Paris suburbs, mansions off the Brittany coast, and even a secluded private island in the Seychelles. Next on our list, we've got Alice Walton, who has a net worth of around $63 billion. Alice is the only daughter of Sam Walton, founder of Walmart. In 2021, the Walmart brand was valued at approximately $93.2 billion. As a child, Alice was quiet and introverted, but had a love of art. In fact, she purchased her first piece of art at 10 years old, a reproduction of Picasso's Blue Nude, from her father's store for a whopping $2. Unlike her brothers though, Alice did not go into the family business when she graduated. Instead, she entered the world of finance. After working as an equity analyst and a broker, she founded her own investment bank called Llama Company, and that was back in 1988. During that time, she was also the first person to chair Northwest Arkansas Council, which developed the Northwest Arkansas Regional Airport. She gave the airport $15 million in initial funding out of her own pocket, and she underwrote an additional $80 million bond under her Llama Company. In return, the Northwest Arkansas Regional Airport Authority named the airport terminal the Alice L. Walton Terminal Building. She was also inducted into the Arkansas Aviation Hall of Fame in 2001. However, shortly after, her investment bank, the Llama Company, closed after just a year due to economic uncertainty. After the closure, Walton moved to Texas and began raising horses, where she's said to have a great eye for knowing which horses will become champions. Her properties in Texas include 2 huge ranches valued at $48 million. So how does a lady worth more than $60 billion spend her money? Well, although she has stocks in her family company Walmart, which made her billions, Alice was more interested in heading the company's charitable and philanthropic arm. She's focused on the Walton Family Foundation and has also founded a number of museums. She's also become involved in politics, donating to both Republicans and Democrats. All in all, Alice is a fairly private individual who prefers to keep out of the spotlight. And just as with Jacqueline Mars, her decision to stay on the down low might have actually helped her avoid a lot of negative press. You see, Alice has been involved in not just 1, not 2, but 3 separate serious car accidents. The first was in 1983, when she lost control of a rented Jeep during a 1983 family Thanksgiving reunion near Acapulco and plunged into a ravine, shattering her leg. She was airlifted out of Mexico and underwent more than 24 surgeries. To this day, she still suffers from the pain and the injuries. However, her second car crash was even worse. In April 1989, Alice struck and killed a 50-year-old pedestrian who had stepped out onto the road. According to witnesses, the accident was caused because Alice was speeding. However, no charges were filed. And her last accident came in 1998, when she hit a gas meter while allegedly driving under the influence. She was supposedly confrontational with officers who charged her with a DUI, and she allegedly screamed, "Do you know who I am? Do you know my last name? I'm Alice Walton, bitch." And while most people would probably wind up in jail for an incident like that, especially as her blood alcohol content was 6 points above the legal limit, Alice's lawyers were able to get her off with a simple $925 fine. Her net worth at the time was an estimated $6.3 billion. So there you have it, a countdown of some of the world's wealthiest women and some of the scandals they're involved in. Drop us a comment down below and let us know, which of these ladies do you admire and who do you think is not so great? Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, show your support by hitting that subscribe button for lots more videos about billionaires. Catch you on the next video.